Robert Kips Walton Jr. September 6, 1942 in the old Winchester Hospital. Mary B. 3. Robert III, Sally McNeil, and Michael Tabb. Genesis, Michael, Walker, Thomas Walker, let's see, Donovan Walton, Heather Walton, they were my Tabb's children, and Kip's children are Morgan and Taylor.
Just for the reference.
3 great grandchildren, Carmody, Ray, and Miley. I remember all 8 of the original bunch and their spouses. I knew every one of them except maybe Aunt Molly's husband, Kenneth Jerome. And I just remember him a little bit when I was a little kid. Pop Walton and I were buddies.
Okay.
He was born in 1863. I was one of the more interested in the family than people. But he lived across the street from Aunt Molly part-time in what's now Skank's building. And he stayed with Aunt Molly a lot, and he would catch a ride out to the High Wire restaurant. He would stay there. And I would sit there and talk to him about Reconstruction and after the Civil War, and he was in some kind of Virginia Reserve when he was like 18 years old. Somewhere in the family there was an old uniform that used to hang in Aunt Molly's attic along with the Bible, and nobody seems to know where they are. But anyway, he was a pretty famous guy in town because we had a Pop Walton Day at the ballpark, and he had a seat painted a different color from all the other seats right behind home plate. And I go down there and said, "Ball games." Nice little man. Had about half his fingers missing. Worked in quarries and lumber and crazy stuff. And about every other finger was either partially or totally gone. That's what I remember about Granddad. Robert Sr. and Anna Virginia Supanger Walton. Anna is from Harrisonburg, and my dad was from Lyman, where all the Waltons were from. My father was a foreman at the East Coast plant, and my mother was my mother. Donald Sherwin and Betty Sue. And my mother was, just a nice, pleasant person, and she looked out for me. And my dad always wore a white shirt and tie, always dressed nice. He was like the rest of the Waltons. They'd sit at the High Wire and pick the losing racehorses of the week, like all 8 of them, 7 of them did.
Yeah.
I don't think Myrtle's in on that. We had a lot of them. I think we'd go to Ocean City and stuff like that in the summer. But mostly it was in the backyard of the neighborhood people. I mean, my mother's backyard, Duncan and Nancy Walton lived next door. And there were like 40 kids in the neighborhood. And everybody bring stuff over to my mother's backyard. And we have a party, just like a neighborhood thing. Just me. No, they're just regular people. Like I say, I lived next door to them for 35 years. So I knew all about them. Expect the computer.
Computer?
Yeah. Oh, it's way past me when I was growing up. They didn't even have electric typewriters. So it's kind of quick.
Yep.
We have an orange cat. and it's rather lazy. And he comes up, he gets on my bed in the morning, and then I'll go down and get the cereal. And I'll go up, and I have a dish sitting there on my dresser, and he'll sit there and look at me. He'll just prop right up. And I put the dish out there and put part of my milk cereal there, and he eats breakfast with me, and then he goes away. Mostly as a pleasant, get along type person, but I haven't always been.
My daughter has.
But I'd like to remember. I like to remember just hugging on my grandbabies and great grandbabies and stuff. That's what I really like doing. They're good little people.